Welcome to Summon Your Superhuman. Today I'm coming to you live to talk about the thumbnail. I know you all have had questions about why I chose that one because there was some voting and it really did steer that way. But why did I choose that in the end? So maybe not all of you know why I chose the thumbnail, which is the Summon Your Superhuman thumbnail. I had two different options and it was unanimous. The red was a clear winner by a mile, much to my surprise. And I thought about it a bit more and I decided to choose that one because it represented the different rears and a transformation as such, so there's me in the gym, and then there's the business, serious professional rear, and then there's the on an odd occasion that I'll do a bodybuilding show or even be in a bikini, to be honest, and then there's me in the middle. And I think the big thing that I wanted to talk about in particular about that bikini shot is that was the last competition that I had done, which was now back in 2018. And that particular show, I didn't prep for. And it was, for me, an example of all of this noise about how hard it is to get ready for a comp, how sacrificing and, you've got to starve yourself and do 3 hours of cardio and all of that sort of usual stuff you hear about when it comes to bodybuilding shows. But in fact, that show, I did no prep. I went to an information session a week before, and a client of mine wanted some information because she was interested in doing bodybuilding, not this season, like the next season after. And I kind of got roped in. The organizer was just like, hey, you going to do the show on the weekend? And I was like, nope. And he was like, show me your abs. And I was like, now mind you, if you ask me to show you, I'm not going to show you my abs on request. But I showed him my abs and he goes, you'll be fine. And so I thought it would be a good opportunity to show what you're capable of when you know how to optimize your well-being, and well-being in such of nutrition, exercise, everything, all of the pillars, down to sleep. So I did the show and I came third. I honestly, without sounding vain, I thought I would have done better, just because of how I view things in terms of symmetry and what a bikini model should look like. But nonetheless, it is what it is. When you do bodybuilding, it's a subjective sport. And I think it also touches upon a very, very important starting story for me, which is when I was 12, I remember distinctly being in a supermarket with my father, and I caught a glimpse of a magazine. And it's your typical, I don't remember what magazine it was, but it was one of those fitness magazines where you see the woman on the front, she's just looking strong and ripped, and I just remember staring at her in awe, like, wow, I wonder what it takes to look like that. And so I asked my dad to buy me the magazine, and I started to research and learn. This really started something for me, because what does it take to achieve that kind of body? What do you need to do? And at 12 years old, I was very into sports. So I started weight training for a different reason in mind. But in the back of my mind, I always thought to myself, I wonder if I could look like that. And I joined the gym when I was 15. Well, actually, when I was 12, I got my dad to buy me weights. But being the Italian he is, he ended up making me weights out of concrete. And which ended up being a lot heavier, which is great actually, because it ended up being probably about 6 to 8 kilos of dumbbells made out of concrete that I got to pump weights with. But all I really knew back then was how to do bicep exercises, which is great for my basketball. So when I was 15 and old enough to join a gym, which back then it was, I probably was the only female in the gym, because back then it wasn't cool and popular to be in the gym, especially for women, because women were like, oh no, I'm not going to do weights. I don't want to look big and bulky. And so there I was, little lone rear, young 15-year-old, walking around the gym, and the only people really in the gym were athletes and bodybuilders, aka what people would call meatheads. And little me trying to like copy and emulate what they're doing. But it really propelled me into like picking up loads of old school bodybuilding books, magazines, and I've studied them immensely. I just wanted to learn more and more about how the body works, how to build muscle, and how to create shape, and how to eat accordingly. Because there's just so much misinformation about how to eat, and there's just really isn't no one size fits all approach. And I even knew that back then, because I was like, well, why are women in these women magazines eating and training this way, and then the men are eating and training that way? So I kind of gravitated more to where I could see proof in muscle building, which is in the bodybuilding magazines. And we could probably show a poster. I've got posters on my left here of some of my favorite bodybuilders of all time, and they're the ones that were my idols as I was growing up to learn how to weight train. I digress. But one of the major things for me wanting to know how to exercise, eat, and train was to create that body. I wanted abs. I wanted to look like that girl on the front of the magazine. And it was a wonderful achievement, even though it wasn't a front cover or anything like that. But, I was featured as just a picture of me in a fitness magazine. And I was like, wow, it's pretty cool. And that picture in the thumbnail was taken by a magazine photographer. So that's also kind of brought me back to my roots a little bit as to why this all sort of started. It's like that little seed that grew, and over the years I was able to accomplish. So I realized that day that I achieved two things. One, I had my photos taken by a magazine photographer. Yes. Two, I did a bodybuilding comp with no prep. Like literally my everyday lifestyle packaged onto put a bit of tan on it and a bikini, and there I was. And I don't say that to brag or to even demean the sport, because I love bodybuilding. I've loved the sport since I was a little girl. It's just that it's been a little bit overhyped in terms of it has to be brutal. You have to sacrifice and suffer. And it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, yeah, on a professional level, you do need to be more stringent, and the things need to be tougher. But on an amateur level, I mean, is it really worth killing yourself and making your body suffer, and the hormone imbalances and implications and health defects that happen as a result of after, for a medal, a plastic trophy, and maybe some sponsorship deals if you're lucky? It's up to you. But I just wanted to show what was possible. And when you live a healthy lifestyle, which is what I've learned, these last 20 years, I've learned how to achieve an above average result. I can probably walk around with abs all year round, which I thought was impossible. But when you live and breathe that lifestyle, and you know how to eat and how to train, and you're very in tune with your body, the sky's the limit. And that's what I talk about. It's being superhuman. It's knowing how to tap into your potential, into your superpowers, to be your best self. I'm all about that. So yeah, that's really why I chose that thumbnail, because we all have different sides of us. I love training. I love speaking, and I love teaching. And every now and then, when I get an itch, I like to compete, because honestly, I don't prance around like that at all. And that's the only time I get to look at myself objectively and to make those assessments about where I want to go next, and how I want to transform my body next. So it's just a cool experience. So at the end of the day, I don't do this for my own gain. I'm trying to give as much information for all of you to use as you will. Whether you work with me or not, I want to put as much information out there so that you can make your own decisions and you can implement what you like to get you to where you want to be. It's just always faster if you've got someone to help you. But in whatever way I can be here to help you, I'm here to serve. And until next time, strengthen your mind, body, and soul muscles, superhuman, and stay amazing.